Today, I'm privileged to be able to share with the world the story of Gregg Wenzel. At age 33, a promising young officer, a leader, a friend to so many, was taken from us. We find some measure of solace in knowing that Gregg achieved what he set out to do. He lived for a purpose greater than himself.
The CIA Director Leon Panetta lifting the veil of secrecy that has long shrouded the death of a CIA spy. He was killed in what's been ruled an accident while undercover on the streets of a foreign capital. For years, his parents kept quiet while pressing the government for public recognition. That came this past week, but they still have some questions. And joining us now, Gladys and Mitch Wenzel. Their son, Gregg David Wenzel, was killed while serving as a CIA clandestine officer in Ethiopia 6 years ago. My deepest condolences, first of all, to both of you. Let me start with you, Mr. Wenzel. When your son left law practice in Florida, he went to the University of Miami and decided he wanted to work for the CIA. Did he tell you he was going to work for the CIA?
Yes, he said that he was interviewed by them. He was waiting to see if he was accepted.
Mrs. Wenzel, what was his decision? Why did he make that decision to give up a legal career and go into the CIA?
His legal career was also for public service, and he loved this country, and he wanted to give back, and he wanted to make a difference and keep our country safe.
As you know, Mr. Wenzel, there are employees at the CIA who are analysts, and there are others who are clandestine officers or spies. Did you know he was going to go into the clandestine service?
Yes.
And how did you feel about that?
We were concerned, but you know that we couldn't prevent him for what he wanted to do, and we were just so proud of him, and we chose whatever he wanted to do was okay with the family.
And then let me move forward in the story. He then goes off to Ethiopia, and he's listed as a diplomat, as a foreign service officer in Ethiopia. But the two of you knew the truth, that he was really a CIA spy. Is that right, Mrs. Wenzel?
Yes, it is.
And then, unfortunately, tragically, he's killed in what was described, Mr. Wenzel, as a car crash by a drunk driver. Do you accept that explanation?
Not really. I mean, there's one of the things that I felt yesterday, by the way, when Panetta was talking, because we've gone down to the memorial service each year, and they always explain how someone that they uncovered and how they actually died. Panetta didn't really go into that in his speech.
Do you believe, Mrs. Wenzel, that your son was killed just randomly in this horrible drunk driving accident, or there was something else there?
I don't know. I don't know. You know, there are other things, and you wonder. They tell us it was an accident, but I don't know.
Go ahead, Mr. Wenzel.
He was working undercover that particular dusk or evening, and he was with a high-ranking official, which I'm not at liberty at this particular time to tell the name, that probably was working and getting information from this individual, and both of them were killed in the car. And this is one of the reasons why, I guess, for 5.5 years we did not divulge any story, because of the safety of the family of that other individual and any other people that my son was involved with in Ethiopia, people that might have been working for him and getting information from.
Now, you wrote to President Bush last December 18th, appealing to him to let the truth come forward, who your son was really working with. And in that letter, you wrote this: Mr. President, we are asking you to help us get Gregg's name in the Book of Honor under his star on the wall at the CIA. It has been over 5 years since his death, and we would like to see this happen before we attend the next memorial in May at the CIA. Please do this mitzvah for us before you leave office. Mitzvah being a Hebrew word for a good deed. You're a Jewish family. Your son was Jewish, is that right?
Yes.
And then finally, the president, in one of his final acts, decided to go ahead and let the truth be known. And then on January 13th, the Michael Hayden, the CIA director, informed you that he would be honored and the full details of his death would be known. Is that right?
That's right.
And how did you feel when that happened? And this week you came to Washington and you were there at the CIA when the new director, Leon Panetta, unveiled another star on the wall there, showing that your son was killed in the line of duty while serving the CIA.
It was a very good feeling and a sad feeling at the same time. But it was a long journey for us, this 5.5 years, where we kept our story within ourselves, and it was very difficult. Because at any time, I guess, we could have covered him, but because of the safety of people and so forth, we chose not to, because I believe our son would have wanted us to do that.
Mr. Wenzel, tell me something special about your son, Gregg.
Our son was a very warm individual, a very funny individual, and he believed in random gifts of kindness for all, and he was his religious background was very important to him.
And Mrs. Wenzel, when you think about your son, what do you think about?
He was very warm. He could talk to anybody. Everybody respected him. He loved being with people. And he was just generally a warm, wonderful person.
We asked the CIA to respond to the questions surrounding Gregg Wenzel's death. The CIA spokesman George Little said this, let me read it to you. "We take very seriously the loss of any agency officer. Gregg was a real standout, and we are proud that he chose to serve with CIA. That's why it's all the more sad that based on what we know, the loss of this outstanding colleague came as a result of a tragic accident."